Welcome back, everyone, to the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Eli Horgan, the King of Carver. I am with the Beard, Kiefer Bontos. Kiefer, what's up, brother?
Patriots, baby, Patriots.
That's right. We are going to be an all NFL edition today. That's why I got the glasses on, because I want to be extra studious. We are partnered with Jones & for Sports. We make sports better. Check them out on X. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube. They're putting out great content every single day. Of course, we are also missing probably the brains and potentially the looks of the show, Steve Fernandez. We hope to have him back soon. But we are going to go right into football. No opening thoughts today, because the only thing that's going on is the Red Sox really in meaningful sports. And I don't even want to talk about the Red Sox because I just don't want to. It's the football. Football is starting. So we're going to go right into the Patriots, and we're talking all things football. We're just going to start with the Patriots, especially Gerard Mayo's latest comments regarding his current quarterback battle. And he said, quote, "We have 3 more days of training camp practices, and it's our job as coaches to evaluate. The competition isn't over." And that was said before today's practice. Kiefer, what are your thoughts on this quarterback situation? Because it feels like it was Brissett's our guy, and we're taking it slow. It doesn't seem like that now.
It doesn't, because you saw what happened the last 2 games with Brissett just playing his couple series. And you got Drake May, who came out and he didn't throw it all over the place, but he looked good moving out the pocket, scrambling the ball. Like he saw opportunities to take for himself, and I'm still torn on the whole situation. You know my stance. I've always wanted to leave him bench for a while, let him learn a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be funner to watch and make games more exciting, because they know they're in a rebuild.
They're 100% in a rebuild. This is not a good team. I was really heavy on the start Drake May, and it wasn't necessarily because I believed in Drake May. It was the whole picking at 3 and then not playing a guy. And I've tempered that a little bit. And I even wrote to you in a text message. I said I would go with Joe Milton. I know what Jacoby Brissett is. I do. Joe Milton's 24. He'll be fun to watch. His team's going to be bad regardless, right? But at this point, like, I've seen Jacoby Brissett. He's a career 18-30. He passes at 61%, 51 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. He throws for 133 yards per game. That's not going to cut it when we're down all the time. If we want to protect Drake May, that's fine. I'm okay with that now. I hated it beforehand, but let me watch something entertaining. At least Joe Milton might be entertaining.
No, Joe Milton will definitely be entertaining. The guy just wants to go out and have fun. He knows he's not winning the starting job by any means. So he has nothing to lose when he goes out there and has fun and plays football.
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time before the season when we knew when we were talking it was going to be Brissett. I had a hard time. Now I'm watching him. He looks sloppy in the preseason. I know Steve had said, I'm not worried about the interception. I'm not so much worried about the interception as I am the poor read. He threw that. It was a really poorly thrown ball into good coverage in the red zone. It was a bad decision on somebody who's supposed to be your veteran.
All of his reads have been bad. If you watched every play that he's done so far in the preseason, and it hasn't been many, but his reads are all bad right now. And his arm isn't great. And you got 2 young kids whose arms are actually really good that could potentially make something happen. You know, Baker got mad at himself for missing that pass the other day.
Yeah.
And then he came out publicly. He was like, "That was me. That had nothing to do with him. That was me. I should have made that catch."
Yeah.
So it's scary to see that. And I'm wondering if maybe they're doing it for the early draft pick again. You know, I don't know.
After moving on from Judon, and I know this was like Steve's thing was trading Judon, but there's no debate that Judon was one of the better players on this team. When you traded him, it not that I thought they were going anywhere, but it's a clear sign of we're punting on the season, you know, because we don't even want a good player who might steal us a game.
No, that was true. And I told you before on that Judon stuff, when I played Madden, I did a couple of seasons. of different scenarios, he was going for third and fourth round picks, and we got a third for him. And I'm not disappointed in that.
No, I thought that was a good trade. It's good value. I like what Atlanta's doing. They also, before, we'll keep going with the Patriots, but Atlanta's kind of slowly, they got Justin Simmons, they got Matt Judon, they're addressing the defense. They already addressed quarterback. We know that. So they're a team that's starting to rise on my list too. I had them pretty high in our power rankings, but we'll get to them a little later. Another thing I want to talk about Patriots related. There's 12 receivers on the Patriots roster right now. Bourne probably is going to start on IR. He's probably going to be on the PUP list. I'd say Javon Baker, Demario Douglas, and Jalen Polk are making the team. 100%. Those guys are a lock to make the team. If the Patriots only carry 6 wide receivers, who's on the bubble? Who's out?
So KJ Osborne had a good practice today from what I've read. And they were really impressed with him, but he's gone. Jalen Reagor's gone. Kawan Baker's gone, and David Wallace is gone.
Okay. So if those 3 are on the team that I said, there's 3 more spots available. I think Kayshon Boutte makes the team.
Yes, sir.
I think Jalen Reagor makes the team.
I see. I cut him. Okay.
And then I'm torn because both of my last 2 are KJ Osborne and Tyquan Thornton. And both of them are going to eventually get cut when Kendrick Bourne is ready to go. But out of the 2 of them, I think Tyquan Thornton gets cut. And I think KJ Osborne makes this team for no other reason than the fact that they went out and got him. And you've seen 2 years of Tyquan Thornton here, and he just hasn't. Tyquan Thornton also hasn't done anything at all.
So he hasn't, but in the first preseason game, they tried to open up that deep pass for him. Do you remember that big play?
Yeah.
So what was said in practice and through people that have scouted practice is that they have plays to open up the field with Thornton, that they have specific routes run with him because of how fast he is and the height advantage. I don't know if that's a reason why they would keep him. I looked at it as a reason they might keep him. If they're making some type of adjustment for him, then maybe that's the case. I don't know, but that's why I kept him on the team.
Yeah, I like, and I don't like what he's done at all, but I like the idea. He's a fast receiver. He's put on some weight. He's a bigger receiver. If he can just get stronger and catch the ball, but we're talking a lot of ifs right here because he hasn't been able to do that on the field. I think KJ is also a guy they went out and got in the preseason. I find it hard to believe they're gonna pick a guy up in the offseason and then cut him in the preseason, because what does that tell the next guy who wants to sign here, who thinks, well, my job isn't secure because they might sign me to money and they'll just get rid of me anyway.
No, and you look at that too. So, I mean, Osborne, like I said, he looked good in practice today, but that's the first practice he's looking in all of camp.
Yeah.
It's a whole situation. I actually kept him I wanted to keep 7. And I like that other kid that was playing with that caught that pass from Joe Milton Jackson.
Yeah, it's I don't want to butcher his name. I
don't want to butcher it either. But he is a rookie. He is young. Why not keep him and see what he can develop into?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I absolutely, I'd be fine keeping him. I mean, they need all the help they can get. Anybody who flashes and looks good, I'm fine with. They're going to be bad. It's going to be a long season for us. There's no 2 ways about it. I think that AFC East is an absolute bear. I think all those teams are good. So that's 6 games right there that I see them going 0-6 there. Beyond that, I don't think it's good. It's another 3 or 4 win team.
Yeah, I hope Mayo continues the tradition of just smashing the Jets the whole time, though, because I'll take those 2 wins.
Well, I would love to see it, but I think the Jets are going to be good. And why don't we, since we're talking about other teams, why don't we just jump into who we got winning the divisions? We can start in the AFC East if you'd like.
I I I I was really torn in the East, and I say that because the Bills and the Dolphins. I think the Jets are going to be good too, like you said, but it's the Bills and the Dolphins conference, I mean, division at the moment, with the Patriots being as horrible as they are. But I actually had the Bills and the Dolphins right there. Bills taking the East.
Bills taking the East. Okay. I have the Miami Dolphins taking the East. I think you're partially right. I think that the division belongs to the Dolphins, the Bills, but I think the division could belong to the Jets as well. I think these teams all could win 12 or 13 games.
Not a doubt in my mind, especially if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and that's the linchpin because you know that defense is going to be good in New York. But it's Aaron Rodgers. Is Aaron Rodgers Tom Brady, or is he Peyton Manning before after the 50 touchdown season when Peyton's arm was completely dead? We don't know. This is a guy he has never looked like a bad quarterback. He tore his Achilles. Can he rebound from that? I think he can and he will. But I still think the Miami Dolphins are so fast. They have so much talent, and they're a good defensive team.
No, completely agree. It's just I look at Josh Allen and just say that's still his division. That's why I chose them. I could see them tying and splitting their games, and it have to become down to who wins the division that way with the
Yeah.
Dolphins. But Josh Allen is that kid's a fucking he's a freak. He's a freak, and they're still got the same head coach. So I don't disagree with the Dolphins. Either one could win that East one right there.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll talk about Josh Allen a little more on this episode of the Boston Boys Sports because we're going to have quite a disagreement, I think.
Okay.
Not that I think he's bad, but we will talk about it later. We're doing division winners right now. We'll stay on track there. So you have the Bills, I have the Dolphins. Why don't we go to the AFC North? Who do you got winning the North?
I got the Ravens.
The Ravens. Okay, that's a good pick. To me, it's between two teams, right?
It's between them and the Bengals, and I only say the Ravens. They added Derrick Henry, and I don't care his age. That guy is a physical specimen, and he trains to be a specimen. So that's going to open up a lot of things for them having a legit power running back.
Well, you're not wrong. I love Derrick Henry this year. I think him and Saquon Barkley are two guys who I could see have bounce back years because they're running behind two good offensive lines right now.
Yes, sir.
And like you said, it's a two-horse race. I just happen to have the other horse. I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joey Burrow, Hollywood Joe coming back, Joe Cool, whatever you want to call him, Joe Freeze. I don't know what you want to call him. He's coming back. T. Higgins is coming back. I love what Cincinnati's done. They essentially replaced like everybody they lost. They brought in to fill that void. So I agree. It's a two-horse race. I just happen to have the other horse. So we're opposites right now. You have Bills Ravens. I have Dolphins Bengals.
Yep.
Well, why don't we get on the same page then? Who's winning the AFC West?
The Texans.
No, the West. The West.
Oh, the West. Sorry. Ooh, the Chiefs. That's another.
Chiefs.
I don't think you even have to ask the West for any of me, you and Steve, because you automatically know. And you said it. That's the Chiefs division for at least the next 8 years. So,
well, to save time, we have the same two, Chiefs and Texans. That's who I have for the West and the South. You couldn't have said it perfect. Until Pat Mahomes decides he wants to hang it up, the AFC West belongs to the Chiefs. The NFL actually belongs to the Chiefs.
mm-hmm.
You got to. They're 2 times back to back. They're going for a three-peat, but just one of the great. I can't say it enough. Great NFL draft picks was Xavier Worthy going to Kansas City. Oh. As long as he can catch, they are between Rice and Worthy and Hollywood Brown. I know Tyreek Hill is that fast and that good, but they just keep getting speed, and Pat Mahomes can make every conceivable throw on the planet, including a behind-the-back throw to Travis Kelce in a preseason game. This guy does everything, and Patriot fans don't want to hear it. This guy is slowly creeping up on Tom Brady. He has to win more. I get that. But if you're asking me who is a better physically gifted quarterback, it's Pat Mahomes.
Oh, Pat Mahomes is the most gifted quarterback I've probably ever watched play football. And
Yeah,
I've watched Mike Vick play, and I'm not saying he was the great, but he was a different animal on the field. As a quarterback, though, probably the most gifted. Brady put in the work to be that gifted.
yeah,
Mahomes just has it naturally.
yeah. Brady is the GOAT because Brady won. That's why he holds all the records. He played forever. He won the most, and that's why you're the GOAT. And that's the final test. That's the final exam, right? But Pat Mahomes is as physically gifted as any athlete I've ever seen play a game. The cross sport reference I give is Brady and Michael Jordan are the best at their sport because they won. LeBron and Pat Mahomes are hand in hand as far as they're the most physically gifted players I've ever seen play.
I would never disagree with that statement.
So, like you said, like we both said, the Chiefs own that division. So we'll go right to the AFC South. We both have the Houston Texans, adding Stephon Diggs, healthy Tank Dell, Nico Collins coming back, Joe Mixon. That team is an offensive juggernaut.
And their defense is fantastic, too.
Yeah, they made two of the great defensive draft picks. With what's his name, the linebacker Will.
Oh, I was looking at it earlier. I could probably look it up again. Hold on. It's not Anderson? Is it Anderson? It's Anderson.
Yeah, Will Anderson. I mean, and then their cornerbacks are fantastic as well. They have two really good. Desmond King, I think, is one of them. But they're a really good team. The only thing that concerns me would be the sophomore slump of C.J. Stroud. Now that there's tape on him,
that concerns me too. But I think this kid is built different too. I don't know what it is. I really like this team this year, and I liked them last year after seeing what they did in a whole year under the belt with everybody back, and you add Diggs. I don't know if I see a sophomore slump with this kid.
I that would be my only concern. I'm with you. I think he's just kind of built different. But that would be my one concern is now that they have tape on him, could it be harder? It doesn't matter if they have tape. Like, they might be worse. They're still far and above the best team in the AFC, the AFC South. The Colts are putrid. The Titans are putrid. And Jacksonville is Trevor Lawrence is not the guy we all thought he was.
They dubbed him Elway, and he's definitely not Elway.
No, he's got a career losing record. I think by like seven games, maybe more. Like, he's just every year you're waiting for Trevor Lawrence's breakout season. This is year 4, I believe, and he got paid already too. And it hasn't translated to winning. I mean, it just hasn't.
No, it needs to be this year that he actually. It needs to be this year they do something before they start thinking what's wrong with this team right now.
I agree. So now that we have our AFC division winners, you know that those 4 teams for each of us are making the playoffs. Who's making the wild card for you? There's 3 spots available. Who are your wild card teams?
My 3 wild card teams in my rankings would be Dolphins, Bengals, and then I did put the Jaguars just because I want to see if Lawrence goes above and beyond.
Okay, so we have all the same teams making the playoffs, albeit you have the Dolphins and the Bengals in the wild card. I have the Ravens and the Bills in the wild card. I actually have the Bills my 7th team too. My team, the one team we have different is you have Jacksonville. I have the Jets making the playoffs.
Okay. Well, 3 teams in the AFC East. It's happened before in other divisions, so I don't see it not happening.
Well, I'll tell you today when I was working on this, I actually broke down every schedule. Yeah, every schedule. I did win-loss for every schedule, and I correlated it with all the teams. So it's not as if I had, the 49ers going 13-4, and then I also had, I correlated to make sure every win I had there was a loss that showed up on the other schedule. So
gotcha.
So I actually have the Jets as the second wildcard team. Buffalo's the third wildcard team. So 7 and 6 respectively. I actually have the Jets finishing ahead of the Bills.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but we have all the same teams, just Jets and Jaguars. So you could talk a little Jaguars if you'd like.
It just goes to Lawrence. I'm hoping in year 4 you see what everybody said was going to be what was going to happen with this kid. I thought I was going to start seeing it year 2, and then you didn't. Then you saw year 3, and you see a little bit, and then still nothing. I'm hoping that year 4 brings him over that step to make that team make that next push.
You know, I was a lover of the Jaguars when they came into the league, when they had Mark Brunell and a lot of Fred Taylor.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardle, like they were a team. I had a Brunell jersey, believe it or not, growing up, and so I would like to see them be very good. I wasn't a believer of Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, and I'm still just not a believer. I just think he's a average quarterback who gets hyped up a lot, and I am a believer in Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers, this is the comeback year. He's probably widely one of the more hated people on the planet. Between his medical theories, between his political views, and between his pompous attitude, like he doesn't talk to his own family, I don't think anything phases him. I think he goes and drinks his tea, and he gets super high and does that. I just think he's a guy who is going to go out there and sling it this year. I think nothing phases the guy.
I don't say you're wrong. I think Achilles scared me at his age, but Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. And we've had this argument before, so I don't hate anything you're saying about that. I just was hoping to see something from a younger guy.
Yeah, I agree. And so we effectively have our AFC playoff set up now. So why don't we go ahead and do our NFC, and we'll start with our division winners. Who do you got in the NFC East?
The Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly, right?
They added Barkley. Their offensive line is great. Losing Kelsey. Kelsey was a hit, but their offensive line is good. Their defense is stacked. Their wide receivers are stacked. They got a good tight end. I heard Jalen Hurts, and I've said it, I think prior shows, that Jalen Hurts looks phenomenal in camp. I think for the first half of training camp, he didn't throw a pick in practice, doing all the starting reps. So it means he's taking care of the ball. I hope to see that he does better this year, and the Eagles are definitely winning the division.
I agree 100% with you. Philadelphia Eagles. Everything you said is true. Jalen Hurts, one of my things when we were doing our power rankings was, which Jalen Hurts are you getting? Are you getting Jalen Hurts, who for the first 2 years where he didn't turn the ball over, or last year where he had more turnovers combined than he did his first 2 years? He's looking great. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I love the fact that they went out and they got 2 cornerbacks in the draft, including Cooper DeJean in the second round, which I thought he could have been a first-round pick. Couldn't agree more. It's the Eagles division. Cowboys are good, but it's still the Eagles division.
Yes, sir.
All right, NFC North. Give it to me, Beard.
I got the Detroit Lions.
Okay, the Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions. This team impressed me so much last year, and they have gotten better. And their team is better, and I think you're going to see a lot of good things coming from this. They got Williams at a full year of camp, and not on a suspension. And that kid was supposed to be a number 1 receiver in the draft in his division. It was just all the stuff going on with him. That kid is a legit stud. He's fast. You got St. Brown. You got the best, in my eyes, the best tight end in the game right now is Shane Laporta over Kelsey and over Mark Andrews, because he's younger and just. I think the Lions is where it's at for me there.
All right, NFC North. I am a big Lions lover, but I picked Green Bay. I'm riding Jordan Love this year. I think this is Jordan Love's breakout year. We talked about it in text the other day, man. Green Bay just doesn't miss on quarterbacks.
They do not.
Since 1992, Favre, Rodgers, Jordan Love, they just don't miss. And I think in his second year as a starter, I love their wide receiver core. They're fantastic. They went out and they got the running back,
Josh Jacobs.
Yep. Thank you for that. Yep. Their defense looks better, which traditionally Green Bay's defenses weren't. You had the Monsters in Midway in Chicago, but Green Bay wasn't so much known for defense. But I like what they've done defensively. Jair Alexander is one of my favorite cornerbacks in the league.
Yes, sir.
that's a really good team. And I think the NFC North comes back to Green Bay, and it runs through Green Bay this year.
Yeah, I had them at 2, so they're right behind the Lions. So either way, they're a really, really good team, and I think you're right. Jordan Love is going to break out this year. So Green Bay, don't miss. I want, like you said the other day, I wish we could get what they had for thoughts on Drake May in the draft.
Yes, I would love. Absolutely.
When you said that the other day, I was like, I really wish I could see that now, just to see what they say, because they don't miss on quarterbacks. So
no, it would be like, the 90s, hearing what the Broncos had to say about a running back, because they just pumped out 1,000-yard rushes.
No issues.
Yearly. So I would love to see that tape. Let's see if they even met with them. But just give me your draft breakdown. If I can find that somewhere, I would love it.
Oh, no, absolutely.
All right. So why don't we go to the NFC South? Who do you got winning the South?
Now, I was torn in the South because Tampa last year and everything, but I actually picked the Falcons to win the South now after the Judon trade and getting Simmons and just seeing all that. You got Kirk Cousins. They're not playing Michael Penix for the rest of the preseason because they don't want him to get hurt. So
yeah,
you're not going to see him the rest of the preseason. But they got a quarterback that they drafted to be the next in line. They got Cousins. They got London. They got Bijan Robinson. The team is stacked, and if they can bring something out of Kyle Pitts, then they're really going to go somewhere.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Tampa is my second city, and I love Tampa, and not because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady going there was just an extra special treat. Atlanta. It's Atlanta. They finally found the quarterback, and they have so much talent on the offensive side of the football. They have Drake London. They have Bijan Robinson. They had a Darnell Mooney. They have Kyle Pitts. And they finally got your rookie to learn. Penix can learn behind Kirk Cousins. They were a quarterback away, and now they're addressing the defense. And let's be honest, if the NFC South isn't the worst division in football, I don't know what is. I mean, it's just not New Orleans is pitiful. Carolina's awful. Tampa is above average, not by much. Atlanta should walk through this division.
No, they should. And that's without a doubt. I do like Baker Mayfield. I hope that he can have a successful season this year, but it's Atlanta's division.
Now, and I'll say this, you'll probably scoff at this. I believe I had Atlanta going 14-3.
I didn't see it too far off of that. I think I had them winning 12 or 13 games.
I would have to go back and look right now, but I think their schedule this year is god awful. Like they play a lot of poor talent.
Well, which is good for them, because let's run through that division, get the division title, and see what you can do in playoffs with Kirk Cousins there.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say, much like the Chiefs own the West and the AFC, the NFC West belongs to the San Francisco 49ers.
Without a doubt.
There's nobody. Seattle, Arizona. I like Arizona this year. I don't love Arizona, but I like them. I think they're trending up. San Francisco's it's a horse of a different color out there.
No, they're so good. And I grew up hating the 49ers just because of my uncle. He lived in New England, never lived out there, and he was a San Francisco 49er fan from the 80s and just continued on being it. And I hated them, but God, does this team just consistently prove stuff. And I think you're going to see an even better season from Purdy this year, and even CMC, because he's going out about saying that you're not going to see a drop off after 30. You're going to see me get a little bit better, kind of like a Curtis Martin situation. So I like the 49ers.
I love the 49ers. They're just stacked with talent. And we'll get to Josh Allen later. We'll also get to Christian McCaffrey later, because I have some interesting thoughts there as well. What's that?
No, go ahead. We can keep going. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, well, we will get to it shortly. We're going to keep chugging along, I should say, with our wild card teams out in the NFC.
So my wild card, because we had a couple different ones. I mean, one different one in there. I got the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Chicago Bears.
So we have all the same teams in the NFC making the playoffs, because I have Lions, Cowboys, Bears. All it's
Okay.
changed. You have the Packers, I have the Lions. So all the same team. So give me your thoughts, and I'll pile on.
Uh, Thoughts are is Cowboys are still a Cowboys. Hopefully they can fix stuff with Lamb because they definitely need him. I don't care what anybody says. Green Bay for all the reasons we already said with Jordan Love, but I have a feeling after watching Caleb Williams the other day throw from running over the right to the left to a Dunze for that 45-yard grab or whatever it was just that team is so stacked right now with all the players. And you're still forgetting about Keenan Allen and Swift going to be coming and doing a pot this year because he had a great end of the year last year with the Eagles. It's just the Bears are something different, and I know people are going to talk shit. They're the Bears. This Caleb Williams is a rookie. Well, you know what? They are still fun to watch, and they have a good D. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'll pile on with the Bears since we both had the Bears. Steve uses this phrase quite often, and he likes to not be a prisoner of the moment. I am 100% a prisoner of the moment. I watch Hard Knocks, and every year I fall in love with a player in Hard Knocks, like a guy who's can't miss. I don't think I'm wrong this time. Caleb Williams is so good. He he is an absolute natural at that position. He knows the psychology of the game. He makes his reads quick. I don't think the speed of the game is going to hurt this kid at all. The Bears have done everything they can to surround him with talent. DJ Moore got paid. Keenan Allen came in. They drafted Rome Odunze to draft Caleb Williams at 1 and Odunze at 9. You've just solidified a partnership for 4 or 5 years with these guys.
Oh, without a doubt.
And adding Swift, this is a team that's primed to have a good season. Don't be shocked when they make the playoffs, everyone out there, and don't be shocked if they upset somebody as the wild card team as well.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with you. They just Caleb Williams looks like I don't even want to say I don't want to put him in the same name, but the way he could throw the ball reminds me of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you know something? I thought that the other night when I was watching who was the Bears game against the other night. It wasn't the Bills game. It was the other night. I can't think about it, but I thought the same thing. I was like, boy, he kind of moves like Mahomes, like just a lot of his mannerisms. I thought very, very Mahomes like. Obviously, he's not Pat Mahomes. So
No.
take breather, everyone out there who's your neck veins are coming out listening to this, but he moves. He definitely moves like him.
No, and it's the arm angles he throws at, and just he might be something to watch. Everybody watching this, he might be something to watch.
It's going to make I like it when certain cities are good. I think the Bears being good is good for football.
Oh, without.
Two of my favorite divisions in all of football, the NFC North and the AFC North. I know we're in the AFC, and the AFC East I love too, but I mean these middle of the road, like Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Baltimore. Those teams it's like hard-nosed football cities.
No, and it's good to watch. It's fun to watch when you see these rivalry games like that on TV. I want to switch to those games. No, I like having Red Zone now because you see everything as you're watching
Yeah,
it. But when I used to watch Direct TV and have NFL Sunday Ticket, you see those really good rivalry games on. You'd be switching back and forth between the Pats and them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fun football to watch. We already talked. I talked about the Lions a little. Do you want to? Actually, sorry, I talked about the Packers a little. Would you like to talk about the Packers at all?
Oh, just the Packers seem. I'm going to see something big from Jordan Love this year. Their wide receivers are good, like you said. Their defense is good. They did get Josh Jacobs, and he's probably going to have a great year in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Just because he had an off year last year, and he's new sites, new cities. That cold weather might freak him out a little bit, but it's just the same stuff. And yeah, that's the same stuff there. And we all know what the Cowboys are. So.
And I won't say too much about the Lions because you said it all. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Jared Goff has turned out to be a good quarterback. I shit on Jared Goff when he came out. I remember watching Hard Knocks when he was with the Rams. It was the first year, I think, in LA, and I was like, boy, this guy, he's almost like a fucking idiot. Like, you listen to him talk, and I'm like, they're going to let this guy run an offense. And the more I saw him, the more I thought he was a buffoon. And I think he's kind of grown into a really likable guy, like perfect for the city of Detroit, a guy who was thrown away and a guy who's turned. I've changed my opinion on him. I really like Jared Goff now.
No, I do too. And I've liked him in fantasy the last 2 years because honestly, he's just gotten better. So,
Yeah.
I made sure to pick him up and last year, and I have him in my keeper league, and he hasn't disappointed. He's been an everyday starter for me. So,
Yeah.
I like Goff.
All right. In our last wild card team, we both had the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to say it for both of us. The Dallas Cowboys are supremely talented, but they're going to lose again, right?
Without a doubt. It seems like Jerry Jones causes a lot of dysfunction on this team by opening his mouth when he shouldn't be. And sorry, Jerry, I know you're a billionaire and I know you own the Cowboys and whatever else you own, but you don't go out and say something about that about CeeDee Lamb and expect him not to. Oh, I'm going to start deleting my Twitter feed now. Let's call my agent real quick because that dude's amazing. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. You clearly need him on your team. Your wide receivers to the preseason have looked god awful. So you need
he
Lamb.
opens up the field.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I mean,
not what it used to be either.
Yeah, the Cowboys are good. They're always good, but this is what I expect out of the Cowboys. Steve always says it perfectly, right? He says they'll win 12 games a year, and then they'll blow it in the playoffs, just like they did last year against Green Bay. That was one of the best playoff games I watched because I just loved watching Green Bay tear them apart.
Oh, that was an amazing game for Green Bay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this. This is way too early. We are reserving judgment. We can change our minds. This is obviously way too early. Who are your division champs? Who's your AFC champ right now in this moment? If I gave you $100, who are you putting your bets on for the division champs?
You're gonna laugh at me at this, and it's just because I didn't want the Chiefs to win, and I don't care what anybody says. I'm picking the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans for the AFC. Who you got in the NFC?
I got the 49ers.
49. Okay.
Playing against the Lions again.
All right. So you have the 49ers beating the Lions to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you, we have different teams here. So this is our first big conversation. I didn't take Kansas City either. I took the Kansas City Killers. I took the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is healthy, and he goes back to a Super Bowl. And one of these teams is getting a Super Bowl this year. The Cincinnati Bengals against the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
See, I really like that. I had the Bengals going obviously right before the Chiefs Texans. I just really wanted to see this young Texans team do something. But I don't disagree with the Lions either. I had them in the championship game. I think they could go on to the Super Bowl without any doubt. I just think the 49ers are better.
Those guys will run through a brick wall head first with no helmet on for Dan Campbell. The biggest mistake he made last year was not kicking a field goal against San Francisco. You have to step on a team's throat when they're down, especially a team as good as San Francisco. They should have went last year. I'm hoping Dan Campbell learns from his coaching mistakes. I know his balls to the wall attitude is why they went for it. And I know all those guys, hey, we followed him. That was the right call. It was the wrong call. I know they're not going to say it was. This team is good enough to go to a Super Bowl, and that's why I like the Bengals because they're the Chiefs' killer, man. They're Pat Mahomes' kryptonite.
No, Joe Burrow is, and I think Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think he could even be top 3 when he's healthy. And that kid really, he wants to win. That's all he wants to do. He's always won in every situation he's put in until he got sent to the Bengals, and then he finally brought him all the way there. They really are a good team. That is a really good Super Bowl choice, the Bengals Lions. I would love to see that because Patriots aren't getting anywhere near it. So I want to see something different.
Bengals Lions, when they make the Super Bowl, where are we watching it? Because the Boston boys are going to have to get together. That's all.
I got the Bose and the 86-inch in the living room right there, buddy. So whatever you want to watch.
I'll be up after work then. All right. Well, listen. Robert Kraft has just knocked on your door, and he's giving you $1,000. Who are you putting on this? Who's winning the Super Bowl this year, Beard?
49ers.
49ers, they finally get the elusive title that has been plaguing them the last few years.
Yes, sir. They finally get there.
Well, I have bad news for the city of Detroit because I have the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow winning a Super Bowl this year.
I wouldn't say it wouldn't be possible because I could see that happening.
And of course, these are far too early and things happen. And if Joe Burrow goes down and he gets hurt, the Bengals are not going to the Super Bowl. So we have always time to adjust these things, but these are our too early predictions. And you guys can go out and bet on these things. I actually did put a bet in for 3 teams. I have the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl, parlayed with the Dodgers winning the World Series, parlayed with the Indiana Fever winning the WNBA championship. It's like It's like a $5 bet, and I think it pays out something outrageous like $20,000.
That's actually a good bet. Dave Portnoy just put money on the Fever to win too.
Listen, that guy can't miss, and I saw that, and I was like, man, they're going to be part of this parlay.
Oh, no, not a doubt. I like that. I like that parlay. I like parlays, though. You get more money in the end run.
That's why I do it. All right, who do you have for your NFL MVP this year?
I do have Pat Mahomes, so I had 2, and I know you can't have 2. I think Pat Mahomes to win it, or I could really see CMC winning it.
Yeah, I think those are 2 good picks. I think the NFL MVP has kind of become a quarterback award. I got Joe Burrow. I went heavy Joe Burrow this year. I think a healthy Joe Burrow is good for this league, and I think a healthy Joe Burrow is dangerous.
Oh, he definitely is.
All right, now let's run. We're going to run through some. This is not who you think the best player in the league is. This is who you think is going to have the best. Who's going to have the best season this year? So I don't want people to confuse that. Anyone watching it, if we pick a player who you think, how could you pick somebody over Pat Mahomes? Clearly, we think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. What we're saying is who's having the best season this year. I went AFC and NFC players for each of these positions. I don't know if you did.
So I mixed mine. I put some so like if I had an AFC quarterback and I had a running back, I ended up having a receiver, just who I thought was the best out of the whole NFL in my eyes.
Okay, we'll do it like that. I picked from both conferences. So why don't we go with quarterback? Okay. Who is your best quarterback this year?
It's Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes. I have Joe Burrow, obviously, since I think he's winning the MVP. In the NFC, I had Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's going to have the best season in the NFC for quarterback. I'm heavy Green Bay this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
How about your running back?
So I picked the best running back in the NFL as CMC.
It makes sense since you have him potentially being an MVP. I have Nick Chubb having a really good comeback season in Cleveland for the AFC. For the NFC, controversial because I don't have CMC. I have Saquon Barkley. Behind that offensive line, I think Saquon Barkley is going to have an absolutely phenomenal year this year. I would not be shocked if he rushes for 1,600 yards.
See, I'm surprised you went with Chubb over Henry in Baltimore.
I toyed with Henry, but Cleveland has a really good offensive line too, and I'm not a Deshaun Watson believer. I think that team's built to run.
No, you're right. I was just reading. I was looking at draft stuff today because I was drafting in one of my fantasy leagues, and they said Jerome Ford, the way he played last season, might actually take reps away from Chubb when he comes back to try to keep him healthy in a way. So, no, I don't disagree with it. I think Chubb's great. I thought you were going to for sure go Derrick Henry on that one.
He was in my top 2, believe it or not, because the other person I had too was Devon Achane. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, in Miami.
I just don't trust his ability to stay healthy.
No, agreed.
Wide receiver.
Tyreek Hill's the best in the NFL.
I got Tyreek Hill for the AFC. I got CeeDee Lamb for the NFC.
Which is not a bad one. Him or Justin Jefferson, I'd take either one of them.
Yeah. Tight end. Who's going to have the best season?
Shane Laporta.
All right. So I don't have is it Shane or Sam? I think it's Sam.
Sam Laporta. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I could be wrong as well. But in any event,
you're right. It's Sam. It's Sam. You're right.
Okay. I I had him at first, and I changed. I have Evan Engram in Jacksonville again. He quietly put up 100+ catches last year. He's I mean, shockingly, when I saw those numbers, I was like, really?
I just drafted him.
Yeah, he catches a fuck ton of balls. So I have Kyle Pitts having a great year. I've been waiting for Kyle Pitts to break out. I think when they finally have the quarterback, he's the guy.
No, I completely agree. I mean, look at what Cousins did with Hawkinson before they both went down. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I don't disagree with that.
Who's your best defensive lineman?
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. Okay, so I had TJ Watt as a linebacker, and I didn't even pick him because he's listed as a linebacker. I know he's a pass rusher.
Yeah,
But
he's a hybrid. He switches from outside to defensive end. So
it's tough because he's an edge rusher, really, is what he is. He's very rarely is he going to cover anyone, but I went with specifically anyone who's D end or D line. So, but I love TJ Watt is fantastic, although I didn't even pick him. So I have Max Crosby for my AFC, and I have Aiden Hutchinson for my NFC, and that one's a little biased. I'm a Michigan guy, and I love Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, you can't go wrong though. They're both fantastic football players. So,
and again, my linebackers, I picked edge rushers, so I guess they could have been D linemen. Who'd you have for your linebacker?
I actually picked Raekwon Smith from Baltimore.
That's a great pick. He's a fantastic, and he's an interior linebacker, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, he's more of a traditional linebacker. I went edge rushers as linebackers. I had Josh Allen in Jacksonville, and I have Micah Parsons from Dallas.
Micah Parsons was up there for me too. So,
how about defensive backs?
So now, did you do cornerbacks or did you do safeties and switched it up?
I picked both of my guys were corner. I've long been a cornerback lover. I think it's the hardest position in sports. You have to play man or you have to play zone. You don't know where they're going, and you just have to be, I think, supremely athletic to play that position. I mean, we go as far back as playing Madden as a kid. We would draft our own teams, and I would draft Champ Bailey first. Ty Law first.
Oh yeah.
Nande Asama first. Like I always went cornerback because I love a good shutdown corner.
Nope, I like Sauce Gardner out of the Jets if we're going cornerback, and I see you're gonna from his second year. I think you're gonna see a real big step up again this year too.
I have Sauce Gardner, so I don't. My honorable mention for the AFC, I Pat Surtain. I think Pat Surtain is so good. He gets forgotten about because Denver stinks. But my NFC, I've always been a big fan of Jair Alexander. I think Jair Alexander is so good. I'm a Madden guy too. Before NCAA came out, Jair Alexander, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I remember I either traded for him with the Pats or I signed him in free agency, and the guy was a 99 within a season of play. Like, I love watching him in Green Bay. But I'm a big Madden dork too, and I always start with a cornerback. I just think a good cornerback is a staple of a defense.
No, it really is. You always look for a good cornerback to draft. So,
yeah. Let's talk some rookies then. Let's go. Who are your top 5 rookies? I went 5 down to 1.
Okay, so I went 5 down to 1, but I did mine going based off how I think they're going to do for the team that they're playing with in the season.
That's how I
not
did
on
it.
just okay. So not on talent alone. So I picked 5. I picked Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
The Chiefs. I picked Jared Verse, linebacker.
Okay.
Peyton Wilson, the Steelers linebacker.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2, and Caleb Williams at 1.
All right. I like all those picks. Verse, I left off my list, but it was tough. It was at 5. It was between Verse, and I ended up picking Terry and Arnold in Detroit. They were hungry for a corner, and they got a number 1 corner. I have Roma Dunze at 4. I think between DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, those guys require you to, and Cole Kmet, really. You're going to have to leave somebody in single coverage, and I think this kid has a chance to be special. 3, I have Xavier Worthy, and I have him higher than those guys because he gets to play with Pat Mahomes. And as long as he is not like a nightmare, like some of the guys who have filtered through there, he could have a huge season for them. Number
Agreed.
2, I had Caleb Williams, and number 1, I had Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, Marvin Harris Jr. He could have been one because I think he's going to have a monster season down there.
I think he's going to have the best year. And for our next category, we have Offensive Rookie of the Year. The only reason I didn't pick him for Offensive Rookie of the Year is I think it's a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback award, so I have Caleb Williams.
So I got Caleb Williams for my NFC Rookie of the Year, and then of course I picked Jared Verse from the LA Rams for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then you're going to kind of shoot me on this. I picked Bo Nix for the AFC Rookie of the Year.
I won't shoot you for Bo Nix because Bo Nix is experienced. He's older, so he shouldn't come into this like Drake May, like a 21-year-old. You know what I mean? That being said, I just think Denver's going to be so bad that I think it's going to be hard for him to shine. I have Caleb Williams in the NFC for my Rookie of the Year. I didn't even break it down. So let me go off the top of my head. I would say Xavier Worthy would be my Offensive Rookie of the Year for the AFC. Defensively, yep. Obviously, I have Terry and Arnold playing for Detroit. Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's a tough one for me. I would really have to look at it because I didn't. I'm just trying to go through names in my head.
So that's why I picked. I had Peyton Wilson from the Steelers, and I picked him as my Defensive Rookie of the Year too. I had him in my top 5 anyway. I just think as a linebacker, any linebacker that's good that goes to the Steelers ends up being a good player in the NFL.
The Steelers are one of those teams that continuously pump out good teams. So that wouldn't shock me. Let's see. I'm going through teams in my head right now. Before I even go into it, I really toyed with putting Brock Bowers on my list, and the only reason he didn't make my top 5 or rookie is because Gardner Minshew is their quarterback.
He's their starter now, just announced this morning.
He should be. Aiden O'Connell's not good. All right, so if I have to go, what do I need? AFC Defensive Player of the Year. I liked Latu. He went to Indy, and I do like him.
Latu was one of the top guys.
Yeah, because not a lot of guys are jumping out in my head. I like Latu, and I think I'll pick Latu. He gets to play. DeForest Buckner's still there, correct?
Yep.
So he gets to play next to DeForest Buckner. That's going to take some. So I'll go Latu for my Defensive Rookie of the Year, AFC.
Okay.
All right, so we have a little bit of time left, and we want to go to some surprise players or teams that we think that will be good, or surprise players or teams that we think will be bad. Do you have? I had four teams I thought might be good, 3 teams that I thought might be bad, and then I have 5 and 5 of players.
So I could name players off the top of my head for that, and I did do 2 surprise teams and 2 bad teams.
Okay, so who's your surprise? Give me your 2 teams that you think are going to be surprise you to be good.
No, well, surprising me is the Bears. They surprised me for the NFC because of what they are, but who they did and what they've done, they're going to come from a bottom of the barrel team and be a playoff team in my eyes. So be the Bears. And then my other surprise team, as you've already said it, is the New York Jets.
Okay, so both those teams made my list as well. Bears went from 7-10 and missing the playoffs. I have them as 10-7 in a playoff berth. The Jets, they went from 7-10 as well and missing the playoffs. And 12-5, I have them in a playoff berth.
Yep.
My other 2 surprise good teams, the Falcons, as I've mentioned, they went 7-10 and missed the playoffs last year. I have them going 14-3 and making the playoffs this year. And then my other surprise team, and it's not that I think they're good because I have them going 8-9, is the Cardinals.
Oh, well, I could have easily have put them on there too because I thought they could have actually did something. So I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, they were 4-13 last year, and I think a healthy Kyler Murray, and then then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. and they also went. Who did they get? The kid from Texas, the running back, Brooks.
Yeah, no, Brooks is in Carolina.
Did they get the kid from Florida State?
Yeah, that I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, they got him. I have it right here in my notes. So
yeah,
they did get one though.
Trey Benson, is that his name?
Trey Benson. There we go. I almost drafted him.
Yeah, Trey Benson. I think he was really good at FSU, and then backing up James Conner. That's a team tight end there too. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the tight end?
Is it McBride?
Yeah, Is it Tyler McBride?
No, maybe. I can't remember the first name off the top of my head.
I went to high school with a kid named Tyler McBride. That's completely Trey McBride.
Trey McBride. There we go.
So Trey McBride, he's good. I just think, like I said, 8-9 doesn't scream great. I just think it's so much better. They're doubling their win total. They're on the right trajectory. So that was a surprise good team for me. Now, who's your surprise disappointing teams?
Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams.
So I have both of those teams. I have the Steelers. When I was going through this and doing wins, I have them going 5-12, and I surprised myself with that.
So I ranked them high in those power rankings.
Yeah.
And then after watching and looking at everything and seeing everything, you're like, I think I was way off on that one.
Yeah, this to me, they went 10-7 last year, and they were the 7 seed, and now I have them going 5-12, and really the first time they've looked bad under Mike Tomlin. The LA Rams, I agree with you because they were the 6th seed in 23, and I have them going 8-9 and missing the playoffs. My other disappointing team is the Buffalo Bills. and only because they went 11-6 and they were the 2 seed, right? I have them going 12-5, which is better. But I have 7 seed. I think their window is closing.
Oh. I don't want to say the window is closing because they got Josh Allen. That kid carries that team.
He's also a turnover machine, and he got worse. He got worse weapons around him now.
He does, and I don't know. They lost people. They lost both their best receivers last year. I could see it happening. I think Josh Allen is the difference maker on that team.
That's why I see them being disappointing because he is a guy who turns the ball over a lot. When he had Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, who he trusted, and you've replaced them with Curtis Samuel, Keon Johnson, just guys who they're not the same player. Keon Johnson is slow. He's a big, slow receiver. He's N'Keal Harry. I mean, maybe he's better. He's definitely more entertaining. I like Keon. I like him. We've watched his TikToks. We've watched his social media. He's a great watch.
You mean Coleman?
Keon Coleman. What did I say? Keon Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keon Coleman. Excuse me. Yeah. From FSU, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I like the kid. I don't love the player.
So, did you hear about Harry, by the way? He added switched the tight end and added 20 pounds onto him to switch the tight end.
It's the best thing he could have done.
No, I don't disagree. I thought it was good for him when he did it. He made the switch, put a little bit more weight on him. It was already big as it was, but no, everything you're saying isn't wrong.
All right. Well, let's end the show with our surprise players to be good and our surprise players to be bad. Who is going to have a good year this year that is coming off a bad year?
That's coming off a bad year?
Or who's going to surprise this year?
Yeah, well, Kyler Murray, because of the injury last year, is going to be one of my top surprise players.
I have him.
Kyler Murray is a definite one for me because I think that he got put in a shitty situation and then lost people, and then now he's getting people, and now he's back healthy. So he would be one of my surprise players.
I have Kyler Murray as well. I'll give you my number 2. I've Gardner Minshew. I think he's finally got a chance to be the guy. He gets to throw to Brock Bowers and Devontae Adams. I think that's a good situation for him.
Yeah, and then I picked Trevor Lawrence for my number 2, and because of all the reasons I've said during the podcast today.
Okay. For a number 3 for me, not that he's ever been bad, but Saquon Barkley, he gets to run behind the best offensive line in the league now. This guy's going to put up numbers.
Yep. Nope. Saquon Barkley's good. I had Jonathan Taylor in mind.
Jonathan Taylor's good.
With everything that happened last year with him, and hopefully this year he has a bigger season for himself because he's going to be carrying that offense.
I have a guy too. My number 4 is a guy you've already said when we were talking about who wins divisions, Jameson Williams. I think Jameson Williams is primed to have a breakout year.
Without a doubt. Not even going to argue that.
He was so good at Alabama, and he, like you said, he made some mistakes as a young kid in his personal life that cost him on the field. This kid is primed to have a good year.
Yep, and Zamir White stood out for me too to have a good year. The kid from the Raiders.
Yeah,
he's taken over for Josh Jacobs, so I look at him to having a potential good year because they're going to run the ball.
They definitely do, and it'll be good if he is good to set up some play action stuff maybe as well. For Bowers on underneath or Adams going deep. I have my last one, my 5th one is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers coming off the torn Achilles. Aaron Rodgers is in his 40s. Aaron Rodgers was signed there to be the savior, and he gets to be that this year.
Gotcha. I like that.
And do you have a 5th?
I do, and it's just because I'm a Patriots fan. I want Roger Stevenson to have a great year.
I could see it. I mean, they can run the ball.
That I said that way in beginning after the draft that they were going to run the ball a lot, and I really want to see a great season from him.
Absolutely. All right, and this is now surprise players that you think are going to have a down year.
I already know what you're going to say for one of them. It's going to happen.
Josh Allen.
I knew you were going to say
it. He was a turnover machine with great players. Now he has a bunch of unknowns. I think the Bills are having a down year. I don't think he's bad. So when all the Buffalo fans are throwing dildos at me, I don't think he's bad. I think he's having I don't think he's going to have a great year this year.
No, I don't think Dak Prescott's going to have a great year if CeeDee Lamb is disgruntled all season.
Oh, without it, a given. All right, another one. I told you we were going to talk about Christian McCaffrey. The guy had 2,000 all-purpose yards last year. He's been healthy for 3 years. He's about to turn 29 years old. I don't want anything to happen to him. He is a great player. Running backs break down. It's a certainty in life. Death, taxes, running backs break down 29.
God, that is. Oh.
Listen.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Death,
I really don't.
Death, taxes, and running backs breaking down at 29 are the 3 certainties of life.
So I have a surprise one here, and I wasn't, and I love the player. I don't think Puka Nacua is going to have the season he had last year.
He's on my list.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
You got a healthy. Go ahead.
No, you're right. You got a healthy Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
And you just don't. He broke out so big. I'm not saying he's going to have a horrible year. He's just not going to have what he did last year.
And that's why he made my list. He's a good player. This guy's going to get drafted too early in fantasy football. He's got a healthy Cooper Kupp now. Tutu Atwell looked like he was good last year. Kyron Williams can't stay on the field. Blake Corum's going to be a good running back. And Matt Stafford's a year older. It's one of those things. I don't think he has the same year. I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Sweet. I thought I was going to get crucified for that one.
No. Who else do you got?
Another off season, I think, is going to be Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. Okay. He didn't make my list for anything. And I'm a big Jalen Waddle fan.
No, I like Jalen Waddle. I just think Tyreek Hill is going to, and he could have did it last year if he didn't get hurt. I think he's going to hit over 2,000 yards this year. It's gonna shock. I see it happening.
All right. So my next one is DK Metcalf.
Okay, I like that one.
I think Seattle is a dumpster fire. I think they are a plane nosediving towards a mountain. I think they're the Titanic heading for an iceberg. Like, this team is primed to just a train coming off the tracks. They look like they're going to fall apart. And DK Metcalf is primed to just be disgruntled and say, I want out of Seattle. And I can see it. Like, I'm not a Geno Smith believer at all.
I'm definitely not. I actually had a player from them in mind, and it was Kenneth Walker. That team is just that team is it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker might be 25, but the way he ran at Michigan State and in Seattle his first couple of years, his body must be 45.
No, it's got to be the way he hit people. Jesus, goddamn.
Yeah, and different player, obviously, different position, but it almost reminds you of Seattle drafting Brian Bosworth, who by the time he made it to the NFL, his body was like 60.
Oh, man.
Seattle's got a history of this. So
too many drugs.
Yeah, my fifth one hurts me to say because I love the player and I wanted the Patriots to draft him. Dallas Turner. I feel like he's been Minnesota cannot catch a break right now. He's replacing Daniel Hunter, and it just seems like nothing's going right in Seattle. They lost like every cornerback they have. Like, I just feel like this guy, he could potentially be Matt Judon, the Patriots. He might have 8 good games and then just flame out because they're just going to be all over him.
No, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think that one of my guys that was going to be a bust this year was David Njoku. How do I say his last name? Njoku.
Yeah, the tight end.
Yeah, the tight end. He ended up having a pretty good season when he played last year. I just don't see him doing anything this year, and he is their starter. So,
yeah, I've never been an Njoku fan. I know he always is like has some good games, but I feel like for the most part he has cement hands.
Yep. Nope. And that's how I feel about him.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was absolutely fantastic. I love the kind of differences we have playing off each other. I think it went well. I'll be real interested once Steve watches us to see what he has to say about these players, these teams, who he's got winning. I think that's going to do it for today. That's all the time we have today. Beard, what do you have for me? Any final thoughts on the NFL or the Patriots?
Yeah, Patriots, please don't fucking destroy Drake May. Please don't waste third pick and destroy him. Don't do it. Just start anybody else right now. Let him learn a little bit and then start him. Don't kill this kid. I don't want to waste a third round pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was big on the forefront of starting him, but now that you see how bad the Patriots are, it's just he's going to get killed. It's I almost feel like the same about Jaden Daniels right now in Washington. Washington's offensive line is so bad that it's like, I don't know if I'd stick him out there. I might have rode with Sam Howell for one more year and kept him rather than let him go. My final thought will be the Patriots. Please, I want to see Jalen Polk this year. I want to see Demario Douglas, and I want to see Javon Baker a lot this year. I don't care about Osborne. I don't care about Rieger, and I actually don't even care about Kendrick Bourne. I want to see if we have young talent on this team, and I want to see Joe Milton start. And it's not because I think Milton's great. I just think Milton's 24 with experience. He can run. He's got a cannon for an arm, and I already know what Jacoby Brissett is. It's 133 yards a game. I don't want to watch this team run the ball on 3rd and 7 all year.
Nope. I don't disagree with anyone. Just so real quick, Bell got all the starting reps today because Hunter and Hooper were out of practice.
Yeah.
Looked great in camp, by the way.
Yeah, that'll be a interesting one to see. Stevie's a big Jaheim Bell guy as well, so we'll have to get Steve's thoughts on Jaheim Bell on the next episode. Hopefully, we got one coming later this week with the three of us, barring Steve's feeling up for it. Our thoughts are out with him right now and his whole family, so can't wait to get him back on the show. As always, we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. We are, of course, the Boston Boys Sports. That's the Beard. I'm the King. And Stevie is absent right now, but he'll be back. Beard, great show, and we'll see you again soon.
Anytime, brother.
Later.